Hello and welcome. It is the completion of the 24th day of September, and what a volatile day it was for the market. All bets, trades of alike within each own risk reward. This is a crypto trading style video. What I'm thinking about doing, and I'll probably start doing at least Monday to Friday, I'll put a gold and silver video out every day. Some days I'll put them together if it's not worth, if it deems worth it that way, but either both gold or silver kind of deal, a Bitcoin against the dollar kind of video, and then like a trading style video, which would be this one. Although I do want to take a look at some Fibonacci from earlier today as I put this in. This is like short term analysis, 100% Fibonacci. And that 87.26 level, well, I guess it worked. And as I was saying, right as I was about to get right around this high, and I'm thinking, it looked odd that it didn't get, it pierced below this, and look at how perfect this is hitting as resistance. I wonder what's going to happen if it breaks to the next level. But let's now move on, and LITECOIN. You see these little moves in here? If you have a strategy where you just think it's a game, and the basis is all you're doing is you have the parameters for a buy and a sell order, an X variable above and below the 18. And it's going to look more phenomenal when we look back at the past. But in this example here, every single time that this has a significant move above the 18, this is not enough, nor are there any of this. Then what can you do? If you have a sell order here, buy back. Sell order, buy back. Buy order, sell it. Sell order, I mean, this might not have hit. This was kind of, but if it did, buy back. Sell, buy back. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go right back to the start of this. And we're going to do it on a 3-hour term time frame. But for now, we're going to look at what the 3-hour looks like right now and how it has played within its 18. For in a situation like, say this, all of this is sell territory, this is buy territory. You figure if you get to a certain amount, because within this volatility, this is something where you can see that if you have the orders ready to go at whatever time, then it works. But you also see how this changes in price. So the sell order amount you had here is lower than they would be up here, or higher rather, higher, lower here and higher here. So your sell order might be here on this period and like here on this period. And then down, the sell orders would start to go down when you have a declining 18 average. And then the buy orders, you're just basically, with an 18 average, you'd have your buy orders in some sort of drawing like that is the real essential you're doing. Almost like a fishnet, and if it traps it, you just grab it kind of deal. So we'll see how this works going back from day one. And let's get the game going. So here we are. It is a price point of 2,400, significantly higher than what it is now. But if you were to put funds in, this up here, wherever, and if you get technical on this, if you do it from the start, say first period, you bought in at, what's the close here? 29.67. You got something in the high 29s. It might mean your first sell order comes here at 26, and you're going to win. And you're never going to buy back in. You're just going to keep on buying and flipping. Now, part of the strategy is going to be when you have a significant play. And there's two things you can see here. Number one If you're buying when it hits this rate of descent, meaning this period bought, because what happens here, you have a seller order somewhere up here, you have a buy order somewhere down there. You can see in buying here, it's something that can be a dangerous thing when the trend is looking like this. So you're going to have to make sure that when you're looking for your buys, what type of crash level would you be comfortable buying? And one of the safest ways is just play for high aggressive plays, and then you're going to miss out on stuff. At least for buying anyway, because if you buy in here, you're not getting the instant buy sale that you're going to get oftentimes when you have the big moves, because you're unable to get it till it comes up here. And oftentimes, if you get it, you can just revert to basic buy low, sell high strategies. But at this point here, the 18 average of highs closed, and I got to bring this up so I can see this way. 18 average of highs closed at 2261. So it would have been opening up the period at that. So you almost have to take what the 18 average of highs was at the close of the previous period. So if it was 2261, this price got up to 27. So you can see right off the bat that you'd want to go for big plays. In this situation, you don't want to buy back until the price action gets at least into the 18, which meant you would have had to manually bought this. Why manually? Because your buy orders are lower. But if you see it happens to go in there, you can just settle and say, I'm going to take the buy back again. Or you could put a buy order in here, but you might hit and you might miss it too. Because I'm the type of person that, yeah, I'll take this price, but I'll put a buy order here. Sort of like how like flea markets and like stuff like that. They're gonna give you a price, but you know that they're gonna barter a little different. It's the same sort of deal in here, and so that's yeah. So let's continue on. So above this, you're not gonna get anything. Let me just look. Actually, it's gonna look bad. So okay, continuing on. These are just small moves below the 18, and that's not acceptable for trading. This would not be big enough. This down move is not big enough, and you see if you take it, that's just a normal breakdown move. We're looking for the aggressive buys and sells that are just too high that you're either going to get one of two ways. One, because there's flip up and down so fast, they're the ones that are so ideal, or a market starts to have a big rally boost, and oftentimes you might see it go up even more further, or it'll eventually pull back. And we see it's just not doing any major action. Now this one here you might accept. This might have fit because this was a pretty big decline. So in a spot like this, okay, so you buy down in here. Now you have to wait to sell. You can't sell it yet. So when do we sell? Well, it didn't get into the 18, and you can even sell for a loss, or just there's not. I mean, sometimes that's like you could call that as a losing play. But there still hasn't been any significant moves. And you keep on adjusting your orders. Again, your buy orders should be going in the same rate of descent and increase when it happens as the moving averages do as well. So down in here, your buying order, say this period or whatever, say in here, your buy orders like say 1950, and then down in here where it's 1999, your buy order's like 1860 or something. And in here, this sell order wouldn't hit. Oh, okay. See this move here? This would have hit big time because you would have closed that period with an 18 average of highs at around 60, little over 1600. So what's your trigger points? Like a 30% move, 25. If it's like 25, then well, 20% is 320, so that'd be like 2000. And you see how 2000 would hit. And now you see it hits 28. So one of the more interesting ways of doing this strategy, if you're going to do it, is you're going to probably want to put them in like portions. Like say, for example, you own 2,000 coins of whatever, or whatever number. So for maybe a 25 or 30% move on the first one, maybe you allocate, say, 450 of them. And then for another leg higher, you have 1550 left. So you allocate, say, 650 of them to the next one. And then maybe you put two more orders in, or you put an all-in order in and level like a 300% move or whatever. And again, the better way of doing this is automation, or maybe the 8-hour time frame. Do it on, or even the daily time frame for that matter, and then that would work well too. As you can see, some of these moves that happen like this. So what happens after the fact? We'd have to have some sort of way of knowing, well, after a move like this, if I sell at 2,000, well, now maybe I'm going to put a seller just start trying to maybe portion my gains if there's going to be some sort of rally happening. Maybe put some sellers in at 24, 28, 3 if it's going to be a real rally, because then it's probably going to either it's going to go down at some point, as they always do, and you can see your buybacks are occurring at least as it goes into this. Now, if you buy at 2,000 the spot, you can see as it comes back down to where it comes from, that's always a big spot. A move like this, why are you going to trust the 18 when it moves up like this? This is just an unusual market rally like this to begin with. So the buying opportunities, and you just do the math. Okay, if I'm going to sell at 2,000, I'm not going to buy it for anywhere lower than, say, 17, and you're going to win, obviously, because the market comes through. And here, does this have a big enough move to possibly come into play? Well, the 18 average of highs was like 1609. This went up to 1782, so probably not. And in here, you have to. The only way you're taking advantage of these moves, and this is another strategy, is taking advantage of the small moves. And you can see in here that every single time, like, where would your buys have been? All of your sells can only be in here. All your buys can only be in here if all your sells are only above the 18 average of highs, and they're all below it. And you know, with this one, that's an easy buy because you would have sold here. In here, flip-flopping back and forth, that's just magnificent. Let's continue on further. Okay, so now we got another one of those moves in here. So there's a selling point in here. And you know what? You really can't sell this because actually you could have bought this back, actually, yeah. I mean, you could have your orders in. This could have easily been bought back. He's put a buy order at the 18 lows even. That's probably the 18 lows on the ideal times. Like that last time I showed where it went up freakishly. That's a different spot where you just go back to where you come from. But in here, this is exactly where you were. So yeah, you're doing the exact same thing. This is a buyback. Now, this might be too low to sell. I can understand that. But as you can see, it still, if you get it, your buyback is right here. It works out. Okay, well, what do we see here? This is interesting. Okay, so all of your buys, this can only have been buys in here. You know you're executing a lot of fun in here. Your buybacks. And again, you could say, like, literally, like, this is the buyback start. And obviously, if you only do the lows, even if you say, even if I sell up here, I'm still waiting to go 18 lows. And you stick with that strict rule. Easy sell here, especially because you bought back in here. Now you really can't sell that because you didn't buy. And none of that is being sold. And, I mean, we'll just, whatever. If you get, this is a small time game if you get all that. But as you can see in here, you're going to get situations where if you're just having Bitcoin on the side, you're going to be nothing but accumulating here. So if you're playing for the small gains, you're going to be accumulating all of this, and I mean, you might get this. But then you're going to accumulate all of this, you're going to accumulate all of this, you're definitely accumulating this one. But if you were the one having the buy order here, you could sell it instantly if you wanted to. And if you wait for the 18 average of highs, well, let's see. We don't know. I don't know where it's going to be. But let's just assume you're like, okay, I bought this at 1018, but I'm not going to sell this until I have a move at the 18 high. So right now my sell order might be 1223. So let's move one period and see. And let's just go. So now my sell order is going to keep on going. You're buying, you keep on buying over and over again below the 18 lows. There's more buying because it's in crash. It hasn't had a move above the highs. There we go. That's the first time. So you'd actually sell for a loss if you barely sold above it. And maybe your order's back at like where you sold it at, bought it at. And that's one thing that I learned a lot too back in the old days, that it wasn't that hard if you were patient to actually get break even short term, but it could hurt big time though. Risk reward. I don't know what the math is because you're talking about winning small amounts often and losing big amounts rarely. But that can hurt though. Anyway, you can see as we continue on going further, there's another. Here, this is an interesting one because you're going to hit both. This is a type of period where let's assume, what time is this? Just out of curiosity, 20 hours. Let's just assume you were a day, you did the 9 to 5. So, well, not really, but you have a sell order up here and a buy order here, and then you log in, you're like, oh, I got both filled. I've had that happen before in the past a few times. That's a really cool thing to have occur. And as we can see in here, let's move up here. Phenomenal. Here. Okay. Up here on this one here. And let's just continue on. And even these moves in here. And you can see that on the spots that any buying in here, you did have a shot to put orders here. You had a shot to put orders here. So patience, again, oftentimes can give you the small gains. And just by looking at obviously you can't see it as well here, but by looking at it this way, again, you can see what's happening if you're only putting buy orders below, even if it's just barely below it. You can see how you're picking away at it there, and everything you sell during this time frame session would be up here. Your buy average is here, your sell average is here, you're winning the game. Okay, I didn't plan to cover this much type of stuff, so I'm probably just going to make the video this here, but again, you continue on your sell orders. Your sells would be, well, you wouldn't sell anything here. No selling at all during this period, but you're selling this, you're selling this, you're selling in here. You might be getting this, and you're barely buying. And in spots like this, you're only getting small buybacks for what it's worth because, you'd be selling here, here, and here. You might have 3 sell orders hit when it has a nice move above. But when you're only barely going below the 18 lows, you might just get one. And then when you do that, you might have difficulties in getting some sales that you think you're going to get. But it's not going to be too difficult to profit when you have situations like this occur. And so I'm waiting for this to go below the 18. Well, there you go. There it is. That's what happens. And there we have it again. And a bunch more. And here's a situation where you had an interesting rally and it actually held. So you have some sells in here. And if you're waiting to buy below the 18, you had none of it. You might have hit this high, but here's a spot where you hit this high, you have none of it again. You can't sell this because you already sold up here. But you're selling this, but if you're waiting to go below the 18 lows, you kind of missed out. But another way of doing it is, if you're aggressively waiting for the lows, that's all fine and dandy. But what happens if you get maniac sell orders fills? Meaning, okay, yeah, it's fine and dandy when I'm selling up here. There's no way I'm buying unless it goes down in here. And I didn't buy in this spot. But here, at this sell order here, say you'd have multiple sell orders hit here. So because you have multiple sell orders, I'm going to remove the drawings and redraw again. You might have had a sell order hit, say, here and say here. This one, I'm going to wait to buy back below here. But this one was well above the 18. I'm going to wait for it to get into the 18, which would have been here. Basically 18 highs and lower. So this is breaking below the 18 lows or break below the 18 highs. is when you'd buy that. So because you would buy that, that would enable you to have one sell opportunity in here. And then you'd have another one in here. But when you sell this, there's no way, no how you should be buying until at least it gets into here. And then the buying all game starts in here all again. And if you really waited for your sells, you can see to fund this buying. How are you going to pay for it? You pay for it because you sell what you sold up here. So you have to manage your reward and what you do to be able to do that type of stuff as you continue on with the market. In here, maybe you get micro. All you can get with these sales in here is like micro, small. You're getting very low volume trades, barely trading much, if any, at all. Maybe a bit of buying in here. And now we're not getting any of these fancy great up moves. Oh, a little bit here, but you can see buying down there, selling up here. It works. Oh, selling, buy here, sell up here. Oh, buy down there. And here's spots where if you bought here, well, you're still holding on to those 750 buys at a loss. So be it. These buys here, again, you got a deep buy. You buy at 651, say. Now you're going to sell it when it gets above the 18 average, maybe at 742. And a bunch of buying in here. Nothing. No great maniac sells. Okay, not there is then. They do happen now and again on this chart. Now and again. Once in a, or 72 times in a blue moon. So the and these ones are interesting too, because when you look at how this can be played, if you like, this is okay. This would be bad luck for those. It would, yeah, okay. I hate stuttering like that. You have all these sell orders that hit. If you're waiting for it to hit the 18 lows, then okay, never mind. I lost my train. I was thinking that the price. Okay, let's just do an assumption. I'll do an assumption just to finish what I wanted to say. Let's just assume that the price was about to come down here, but your buy order didn't hit. Or even you have a buy order here that didn't hit. That's just bad luck. Because assume you did sell up here and you bought it back before the end of this period. That enabled another sell order for this one here, which again you would have bought back, and well, you have a sell order ready to hit. It hasn't hit yet. Watch it hit. Nope, it doesn't. So now you have to adjust your orders here and there. Where are we on? 2018 December? Oh my goodness, we're only there. And then you got one of these moves again. So obviously, I mean, you think, okay, you just get a move that comes back down, or you get a move that could be substantial. Will this be a hold move that actually does real things? But this is a spot where you could have a whole bunch of sell orders hit. And maybe you haven't even bought back yet. Because you consider, even here, you could be so aggressive and be like, hey, I think you should be bought. Like these sell orders, I think you should be bought. But maybe you got a very calculated strategy. I'm not buying unless we have a deep play below the lows, or I want to, and this is the thing you hear about in games and game theory, you get too greedy. Well, let's look at that at a positive level. Find the situations where you can be too greedy, and this looks like one of them, because you have spots where you could go for the big sells and wait for like the start buying back at 683. So you're buying this at huge returns. So instead of selling at 1400 and buying back at like 11 or 1000, you're buying it back at 690 or something, even lower than that. And as you can see, oh, how do you do? It's doing that. It went as low as 585. You've seen that out of control move. Now this is a normal move. So when you sell this, you're happy to buy this back at the lows or below. You should maybe get this one here. Maybe you put an order in for like say 636, which would have been microscopically below, which is what you'd be doing after these sell orders. And okay, so you got a little bit of a order fills, but hopefully again, maybe you had a whole bunch of these fill so that you can fund again if it goes to say your orders below, like the 604 and so on, that would follow what you just recently bought. And as we can see here, you're not going to buy this below because what would happen is, say you bought here. Well, now you had a sell order here, and here, and here. And then it goes below, but you already bought though at that price point. So why are you going to buy it then again? You're just going to double your stake now? No. So you sold it here. You sold it on this period. Or maybe you microscopically got this. Either way, it was a profit. Anyway, I'm just going to finish this off. I went over a lot more, but this does continuously do this. Boom, boom, we can see it. And this move here, you can see just how the profit potential works. If we do the graph again, selling above the 18 average of highs, buying below the lows, selling in this area in here, and then again, if you're doing like I state, you sell in this area, waiting to buy back here, not buying back there, you are not selling this. There is no selling here. Because you're going to run out of stock, inventory. But you have inventory ready to sell this, and you're ready to buy this part back in here. And like I stated at the start, that you would never invest anymore. You would just only do the actions of selling above the 18 highs and buying below the 18 lows. And how do you do here? Do I even need to... Yeah, oh wow. The price action goes from 1,000 to 14, and there, situations here. Maybe you get one of these, or you get none of them, or maybe you sell here, and you don't get these two. But maybe some other people sold here, bought back, sold here, bought back, sold here, bought back, and this is a 3-hour time frame. Maybe on the shorter terms, there might have been 5 or 6 of these, or a bunch of these plays that happen. Again, sell above, buy below. Let's continue on. We're getting closer, merch of... Yeah, this is it. I can't believe I just did this vid. So, I mean, this is just crazy. You sell that, buying. Sell there, buy. Now, granted, again, when you sell up here and you buy when it comes back in here, you got more selling power for this. And then you aggressively are able to get more selling in here. And the higher amounts, maybe you buy back in here somewhere. If you bought in here, yeah, I don't think you have selling power because I'd like to sell higher than that. But, oh, there's buying power down as we go below in here. So what you see here, this is your buys in here, and this is your sell. And then, of course, you can see you buy back. Look at all. I mean, you can. Do I have to say how fun this could be if you really pay attention to the bid-ask prices? This movie here, we got May. Price is down to $5.79, and it goes down much lower. This little move here, only price pays. Oh, how about... And let's get real about this one here. Every single one of those moves have been to the upside. This is the first one we've seen with any type of serious in here. And there's a lot of excuses for saying, did you get any of this? No. Oh, actually you did. But did you get any of this part in here? Of course you got this. Yes, yeah, that's obvious. But did you get this? And it just never goes there. But if you just have Bitcoin on there, and you don't mind it having on the exchange, because it has to be on the exchange to do this, of course. So you have to keep that in mind. But you can see, if you were to do this, you're on Bittrex. They're still in business, so along the way, when you do all these trades, there's going to be times where, you know what, I'm just going to take some in profit take, and because that's what I'm doing. I'm trading. I'm getting all these sick-ass gains kind of deal. But we can see here we have it again. Nice, beautiful move, selling up there. And then the buybacks down below there. And this is where you barely sell at all. I mean, you barely get much at all. And buying down there, selling up here, buying it. And then when it goes way down like this, how do we fund these extra buys? Well, one easy way is all the damn profits you've been making. And you fund those damn profits to buy them. That's one way. Okay, so continue on. Nice little failed breakout, but you know what? Failed breakouts and breakdowns rule in this game, especially the failed breakouts when you're trying to sell. They rule. And when they happen over and over and over again. We have this little move here that occurred on August the 13th, so we're only a month away from now. Oh, we have this little buy. That's the second one of okay proportions. And this is where we stand today. So the last bit of playing would have been having a sell up here and a buy down below. I really wasn't sure where I was going to go with this video. Well, I knew I was going to do this, but I thought I was going to be like 8, 10 minutes, 12 minutes doing this type of stuff. I was going to talk about how like the cryptos are just moving wild. The percentage moves. I got to look at SkyCoin. Oh my goodness, why am I not looking at that? Come on, Sky, please be going high. Please, please, please. 7.3. Okay, well, it's not breaking down. It's got an interesting setup. Okay, anyway. What I was going to talk about is these movers. I mean, look, this is from 8 o'clock. It's 11 p.m. as I'm doing this. Sky's up 7. Atom up 5. I traded Atom recently. What did I do with it? Did I buy or sell it? I bought it earlier today. Bitcoin Cash, I bought a bunch of that earlier today. Theta was somewhat. I didn't get too many trades in. I had one. I've only had one ratio trade from H bar. LITECOIN, 2.9. Just volatilities are coming in. So yeah, it sucks that the bankroll that I own, and of course the ones you'd be owning most likely as well, and some of you are making on this play because of the way you're trading, which is awesome in the sense there's just so many ways to win the game, and that's what I like about it. But there's just the volatility is what I want, because Bitcoin for like days and weeks has been like, yeah, it's just not really doing much, and it's just been symmetrical and this staying in the 18, never getting above and below, all that type of stuff. And well, that all changed within the market. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.